This is where Europe meets Asia, and it's right here where work has started on a project so big that it will probably change the world as we know it today. We'll be looking at a mega project dreamt up nearly 500 years ago, a project that involves military coups, worried environmentalists, and the crazy idea of a leader who dreams of building a new empire. Hey, I'm Regis. Now sit back and enjoy as we dive deep into one of the biggest mega projects in the entire world, Istanbul. Before I introduce you to the leader who wants to build a new empire, I need to tell you why Istanbul is one of the most important places in the world. Don't worry, we'll keep it short, but this is very important to know as we look into this mega project. Before 1453, Constantinople, as Istanbul was known then, was the most frequent route for getting luxury goods like tea, bone china, spices, and opium into Europe from Asia. If goods were taken by ship from the Black Sea in the east to the Mediterranean in the west, there was only one way to do that: sail past Constantinople through the Bosphorus Strait. That meant it was a great city to trade in before heading back into Asia or Europe, and sailing along the Bosphorus was a bit safer than traveling through the less friendly areas that surrounded it. That is, until 1453, when the Ottoman Empire invaded Constantinople, renamed it Istanbul, and put high taxes on anything that foreigners brought through across the Bosphorus. The new regime made such a massive impact on global trade that it sent people like Christopher Columbus on long journeys across the Atlantic to find new, cheaper routes to the east, and we all know how that turned out. More than once, the world's powers tried to get the Ottomans to make life easier by getting them to sign treaties that let anyone who wanted to travel along the Bosphorus do so without having to pay too much in tolls. Each time the Ottomans decided they didn't like the terms, ignored the treaty and raised the levy. Even after the Ottoman Empire collapsed in 1922 and Turkey rose from its ashes, no agreement would stick. That was until 1936, when almost every power in the world met in Montrose and hashed out a deal that kept trade moving and the Turkish government happy. That deal is called the Montrose Convention regarding the regime of the Straits, and it's still in force today. It gives Turkey full sovereignty over the straits and the part of the seas on either side. At the same time, it guarantees that any civilian ships can use the route for a reasonable fee. Military ships can travel too as long as they follow strict rules and give Turkey 8 days' notice. This gives Turkey a lot of power, but there are still two major problems. First, because it's the only way from the Mediterranean to the Black Sea, the Bosphorus is busy, really busy. In 2023, nearly 39,000 ships sailed through the Bosphorus. The straits aren't big enough for that much traffic, which leads to the second problem: the Bosphorus is badly polluted. The massive number of ships passing through daily wrecks the air quality in Istanbul, and leaks and accidents regularly poison the water. The Montrose Treaty makes it hard for Turkey to stop all of these boats, but there might be a way around it. It's a crazy idea that would help Turkey make money from shipping and reduce the number of ships traveling through the straits, and this idea is building a new canal from the Black Sea to the Mediterranean. Previous canal proposals. When managing a massive construction project, having the right tool for the job is essential. The same goes for your online experience, and that's where today's sponsor Opera Browser comes in. With its suite of powerful tools, Opera helps you stay organized and boost your efficiency while browsing. A massive time saver is Opera's built-in AI feature called Aria. With Aria's command line, we can ask any question at any time. Just hit Control/ or Command/, and we get answers without even needing to switch tabs. While we're doing research for this video, for example, Aria's page context mode can instantly summarize long articles and extract key details. Aria also has a built-in image generator. By simply entering a prompt, Aria creates an image from scratch and brings ideas to life. On top of that, with Aria's image recognition, we can easily upload images and get detailed information or context about the images, perfect for finding additional answers for our research. But that's not all. Do you always have too many tabs opened? With Opera's Tab Islands feature, this won't be an issue anymore. You can group your tabs by context and save space, and you can expand and collapse each island. And when you need to multitask, this video pop-out lets you keep watching videos while browsing other websites. And you can also access music and social media in this sidebar. This way you got everything in one place. Try it out. Opera's browser is free to use. You can download Opera using our link in the description below. This isn't actually the first time that someone has thought about building a second route. About 500 years ago, Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent wanted a quick way to supply his navy with timber and other materials without passing through Istanbul. The plan was to start at the Black Sea using the Sakarya River, and then build a short canal to Sapanka Lake, and finally another canal linking Sapanka to Izmit Bay on the Sea of Marmara. His plans never got off the drawing board, although four more sultans dusted them off over the centuries. It was always either too expensive or too difficult to do. Then in 1985, more than 100 years after the last serious proposal, a government consultant lit a spark when he said it might be an excellent way to cut traffic and reduce pollution near Istanbul. Nothing really happened again, but by 1999 all this fed the imagination of a young local politician, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. And Erdogan had a dream, a vision of what Turkey could be in the future, something it once was. He is often seen as a neo-Ottoman, someone who wants to take Turkey back to the glory days of international influence and empire. Part of that means making Turkey an engineering marvel like in the empire's best days. Another part is having tight control over people traveling between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean like they did before in 1936. And in 2011, the then Prime Minister Erdogan gave a speech unveiling what he called his crazy project, the Canal Istanbul. He said it would be the canal of the century, and it would return Istanbul to its former glory by reducing traffic on the Bosphorus to zero. Just as over the past 500 years, most people thought it would never happen. But after he became president 3 years later, he did a few things that shut the doubters right up. First, he started to build things, a lot of things. His building the world's fourth largest airport to replace the old one in Istanbul, part of it's already open. He built the record-breaking 2 kilometers long Kanakal 1915 suspension bridge, a crossing so huge that the support towers are almost as high as the Empire State Building. And he likes to build dams, the 7 highest in the world, the Yusufeli Dam, and the 2 kilometers wide Ilsu Dam are just 2 of 22 being built across the country. Second, he showed the world how ruthless he can be. He found ways to increase his grip on power so no one could stop his vision. After a coup in 2016, he put anyone he saw as a troublemaker in prison, and is just as ruthless in his building projects, although some have damaged protected wildlife or flooded ancient villages, displacing thousands of people. He argues that it's all part of the greater good that will ultimately benefit the Turkish people. And on June 26, 2021, he started his biggest megaproject and officially broke ground on the Canal Istanbul. Erdogan's Canal Istanbul. The plan is to build a canal from the Black Sea to the Sea of Marmara, basically turning Istanbul into an island. The whole route will be 45 kilometers long, which is shorter than the Panama and Suez canals, but it'll be a lot wider so even the largest ships can pass through. To make life easier, they want to use some existing waterways first, this lagoon on the Sea of Marmara. Then they'll build a short canal to this reservoir. Once they've run out of reservoir, they'll build 28.6 kilometers worth of canal to the Black Sea. The first step here is to build an 860 long bridge, the first of 6 bridges that will one day cross the canal. The next stage is to dig out the long section by starting in the middle and excavating outward. One of the problems they need to overcome is a difference in sea levels between the Sea of Marmara and the Black Sea. The Black Sea can be as much as 50 centimeters higher than the Sea of Marmara. That's not a huge difference, but as they want even the biggest ships to be able to pass down the canal, they'll need gigantic locks at either end. Now, if all goes well, the canal should be ready for ships in 2027. But the problem is Erdogan's math might not be great, and this canal could face serious problems. Problems of the Canal Istanbul. First of all, there's the issue of the money itself. He originally claimed the canal would cost $1 billion, but other sources put the figure closer to $15 billion, or even as high as $65 billion. That's a lot more, but he doesn't think it's a huge problem because a lot of that money is coming from the private companies who will help to run this project. And if Erdogan is correct, the $8 billion a year that Turkey would earn from the canal would soon pay that back. However, the Turkish Straits only make around $200 million a year. To hit $8 billion, they need to make 40 times as much as they do now. Erdogan has said that the Montrose Treaty won't restrict the canal, a problem we'll get to later, so he can put the prices up, but even if they charge as much as the Suez Canal, they'll still be nowhere close to that number. Now on the flip side, the project will create as many as 10,000 new jobs, hundreds of new homes, a new highway leading to a bridge over the Bosphorus, a third airport, and as Erdogan hopes, a massive economic boost. But even if Erdogan's economic numbers are correct, his environmental calculations might be way off. His dream, Or at least what he says is his dream, is to clean up the Bosphorus using the new route, but that could add up to a foul-smelling Istanbul. Remember the difference in sea level between the seas at either end? That's likely to cause water to run just one way through the canal. As the Sea of Marmara isn't as salty as the Black Sea, the new water from the canal could flood the Sea of Marmara with extra salty water, disrupting that delicate balance. That would mean fewer nutrients in the water and less oxygen. Less oxygen in the water would cause a rise in a type of bacteria that could flood Istanbul with a rotten egg stench of sulfur. In the Bosphorus, this isn't a problem since the water passing from the Black Sea through to the Sea of Marmara has unique two-layer flow which keeps the whole ecosystem in balance. And then there's the impact along the route of the canal. They'll be building through areas that are currently protected by global environment agreements. Once it opens, the traffic through Kukuk-Sekmes Lagoon will cause a loss of important habitats, flamingos, eastern imperial eagles, and hundreds of other rare migratory birds lay eggs there. Further up the route, they'll pass through what used to be the Sazdir Reservoir. At the moment, it supplies a quarter of Istanbul's drinking water. Building the canal would mean getting rid of the reservoir's dam, which seems strange given how much Erdogan loves dams, and pumping fresh water from the Sakarya River 25 kilometers away instead. Once the ships get past what was Sazdir, they'll be passing through land where hundreds of thousands of trees are being torn out of the ground in a country that's already been hit badly by deforestation. Agricultural land will be lost and thousands of protected flora and fauna habitats will die out. Erdogan argues that this is all overblown and that the canal is needed so that Turkey can clean up the straits and regain control of their waterways. But there's still another calculation that he might have gotten wrong. As I mentioned earlier, he says that the Montrose Agreement won't cover the canal, and that has upset a lot of people. As you might imagine, quite a few Turkish nationals who live outside Turkey have raised concerns, calling the canal like some grand fantasy project out of the 19th century. Turkey's allies are concerned too, arguing that it could escalate tensions between NATO and Russia, which nobody needs right now. 104 senior Turkish naval officers signed an open letter saying they are worried that if Canal Istanbul is built and the treaty is ignored, it would undo the main aim of the treaty, to stop the Black Sea from becoming militarized. Erdogan responded by accusing them of using language that sounded a bit like they were thinking of performing another coup, and arrested 10 of them. No sign of stopping, despite the environmental, economic, academic, and military concerns. The more pressure Erdogan feels, the more determined he is to press on. The first phase of the canal, the bridge over the Sazdir, is underway, and Erdogan hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. His grand vision of a new Ottoman Empire needs projects like this. But opposition to him and his crazy idea has grown in recent local elections. As he said that he'll stand down from office in 2028, he needs to get the project built on time or it might never happen at all. So what do you think about the canal? Will it bring the economic prosperity and old-school Ottoman glory that Erdogan hopes for, or will it end in disaster? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you want to see more about similar projects, you should check out our video about Thailand's massive mega canal. Thank you for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next video.